Hey there, how's it going? It's me, Brian Malorian. And so this is one of those real talks. These are one of the ones where it's not really about War Machine, it's about whatever I want to talk about. Now, one of the things that we were talking about at work actually today was mental health, and I had some thoughts on that. And I thought, you know what, this is something that I might want to just share with everybody. So I thought I'd just do a general video on this and kind of my own experiences with it and some of the takeaways I had from it that hopefully will help you. So, for those who don't know, I went through a very dark time. I am living in a place called Alberta, and even though the capital's in the middle of the province, all the work usually happens up on the top. That's where the big booming stuff was normally happening. And as that happened, we moved up there and we were working, and so that's good, right? Hooray, money for everybody. But then it was just too expensive. We had kids, my wife wasn't working, they moved down. I tried to find other jobs so that I could go down as well, and unfortunately it didn't happen. And year after year after year, I was stuck up there, and it was close to a decade that I was not living with my family. I'd only come down on the weekends. So this is like, 5 hours driving each way, 1,000 kilometers type thing. And yeah. On those weekends where I actually got to be with the family, I'm needing to spend some of that time cleaning house, doing dishes, doing laundry. There's probably birthday parties, other family stuff. And so, and that's even if I get to come down. What if I was doing, you know, overtime, or there was bad weather, or I just, the roads were closed, or maybe they're open but I figure it's too dangerous. So sometimes I wouldn't even get to come home on the weekends. And it got to the point where it just got so depressing, right? This has been going on for years and years and years, and it seems like there's no escape. And one of the worst things that it seems like I'm just not providing for my family. I mean, I'm providing financially, but I'm not doing anything else for my family. And it's one of the things that really came to a head. So, I mean, like, it was basically like down, down, down. Mental health was getting worse. And then the thing that made it really bad was when all of a sudden I had an opportunity to be picking my own benefits. So basically I had like a set value and I could distribute it between these things for like eye plans, teeth plans, like dental plans, whatever, all these different factors. And the one factor that I could be putting things into was life insurance. And I could be putting as much as I want in there. All those sliders went as far as I wanted for any one. And I realized that if I was to put everything into my life insurance, if something was to happen to me, my family would get $2 million. And then that was literally me sitting for weeks on end. Well, I had about a month to go and finalize what my things were, trying to weigh my life, trying to decide if my life was worth $2 million. And very quickly into that, realizing that probably not. It probably isn't worth it, right? My life isn't worth that. It's better off my family got the $2 million, and, sure, I wouldn't be there providing anymore, but $2 million goes a long way, especially if invested well. Plus, she could always remarry. In fact, maybe it'd be better off if she did remarry, because then there'd actually be a father figure there in the house, and I wasn't there to actually do those things. So, man, this would be fantastic if I died, and then my wife could remarry. My kids would have a father. They'd have $2 million, and then the only caveat then is that I would have to figure out how I could die so that they would get it and then insurance would not be denied. So then the rest of that month was really then spent, how would be the best way for me to die? And the way that I eventually came to is, I'm driving 1,000 kilometers, all the time. People driving up there, they get tired. And sometimes they waver on the road and you have to kind of like move out of the way. I couldn't actually go into theirs myself because then I'd be to blame. My family wouldn't get the money. But what if the next time that somebody comes and starts drifting into my lane, what if I didn't pull away? What if I just got hit? There you go. It's their fault. Pays out. My family gets all the money. Win-win as far as I saw it at that point. Now, that was awful, right? Going through that time, judging your life figuring out it's not worth it, and then figuring out the best way to die. So definitely in all my life, that was kind of like one of the lowest points that I was at. Now, obviously, you can see I'm still here, so I didn't go ahead with this. So what happened? What was the thing that changed there? And I think one of the biggest things that happened is that there were several other people around me that were dealing with their own problems. People whose, parents had died recently, people dealing with this, people dealing with that, and just starting to realize how bad things are for everybody. And man, it just seemed like every person I talked to, something really bad was happening in their life. And one of the things that when I first say this is going to come across and be like, wow, that's just even worse. But the realization came that I was not alone. I was not special in that things were really bad for me. Life is just rough. Life is just really, really severe and punishing, and really everybody is suffering. Everyone that you see around you is suffering in one way or another, and sometimes things are better, but sometimes things are worse, and everyone's going to go through those cycles, but at all times it's really just a gauge of how much they're suffering. Now, you can take away from that, like, boy, this is an awful life, it's just a bunch of suffering. But at the same time, there's some camaraderie in that, and the knowledge that you aren't alone. And then all of a sudden, if you start focusing on the other people and saying like, wow, this person's having a hard time, I can help them, then you start realizing that people might want to help you. I might want to actually be asking for more help. And along with that, I think normally when someone's down in a very deep place where everything seems to go wrong, they don't want to go and address it to anybody else because they're like, people don't care about me. They don't want to talk to me about this. It's just not something they want to be bringing up. And if I talk to them, they'll be like, go away. This is useless. Don't ever talk to me again. Whatever it is, it's not going to go over well and it's not going to help. But what if you think about that in reverse? What if you think about it as, what if somebody came to you? What if your friend came to you, a family member, the neighbor? What if just a complete stranger? You're walking down the street or somebody calls you or whatever it is, and they're like, hey, I'm having a rough time. Can we talk about it? And I think odds are you'd be like, okay. Yeah, I guess I can do that. Maybe you're busy, and especially, let's say a random person at work, a new person, you don't know them at all, and they're like, hey, I'm having some real troubles, I'm in a real dark spot. Can I talk to you? Even if you're busy, you'd be like, okay, I'm busy right now, but can we talk about that later? And I think the main thing is if you look at yourself and say like, well, I wouldn't turn other people away, well, then why are you expecting other people to be turning you away? And then once you think of it like that, well, then really you're surrounded by resources. You're surrounded by people that are willing to give you an ear and willing to at least give you the opportunity to say what's happening, and maybe they can suggest something. Maybe just the fact that they're there to listen might be enough. Now, thinking through these things is really what turned things around for me. The idea that, again, people around me are suffering, but we're all in this together, and that there's all these people around me that I can talk to. And what I kind of took away from that is, even though in my situation, I was already trying to do the best I could to fix it. I was applying for jobs, doing whatever I could, but then I kind of just turned things around to be seeing like, how much can I help other people? I'm going to watch out for when other people are down, and I'm going to start trying to help them. And then all of a sudden, I was like, well, I can be helping out my family by being there. I can try and play more with my kids. I should be allocating these things into dental plans and eye care and stuff like that, because we're going to need that. And then all of a sudden, when that focus was there of how much can I be helping other people, it kind of gave me that drive. And maybe it didn't really fix things for me for like what the root causes were, but at least for like my mental health, it helped a lot. It gave me a purpose, it gave me focus, gave me something to do, and eventually life turns around, things got better, and then the root cause was addressed in that way. I mean, really, some of these things, all you have to do is kind of wait them out, right? There's things you have to take active work against, and then sometimes you're just in a bad patch, and it's just a matter of time. So I kind of thought it was good for me just to get this story out there and talk about it. I don't know how much of this I've talked about on the channel before. I know I've hinted at some of these things before and talked about some other issues, but like I said, there's always new issues going on. It's just about where you are in that curve. So I guess one of the things I'm hoping you take away from that are some of the ways you can be looking at things, maybe improving things for yourself. But if nothing else, I hope I've made it super clear that I'm also available. If you want to talk to me, and it's just like, you know what, I need to talk to somebody that won't judge me, message me. I have no problem with that. You can message me right through YouTube, through Facebook, whatever you want, and I'll be a helpful ear. There might be nothing I can do to help you, but if nothing else, if you need someone to vent to, someone to bounce ideas against, I'm here for that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people around you that are there for you too, so, take strength from that. So anyway, that's just what I get out in this very quick video, and we'll catch you later. Bye.